To order the town council meeting of Monday, January 25th, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Most. Thank you, Bill, for the flag. Joan, would you like to do the roll call?
Yes. Councilor Cook?
Here.
Councilor Burke?
Here.
Councilor Janik?
Here.
Councilor Edwards?
Here.
Councilor Vieira?
Here.
Councilor DiMederos?
Here.
Councilor Perry?
Present.
All present and accounted for.
Thank you. Consent agenda, approval of town council minutes, January 11th, 2021, regular session, Council Perry abstains, absent. January 14th, 2021, joint budget committee meeting, workshop. Acknowledge receipt of minutes from boards, commissions, committees, planning board 2. Acknowledge receipt of reports from Treasurer Charette, December budget and revenue reports, Planning Board Chair Gill, Planning Board 2019-2020 annual report, Jennifer Feliciano, Town Planner and Administrative Officer, report of activities of the Planning Department and Planning Board for December 2020, approval of tax assessor abatements, total amount $2,186.59. Would anyone like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'll give it to Donna. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry.
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you. Public comments regarding a council agenda item or any other town businesses. Have there been any comments received?
No comments received.
All right, I'm going to move on. Public hearings advertised. Discussion and possible vote on proposed amendment to the Tiverton Code of Ordinance, Article 1, Section 10, Public Nuisance of Animals, continued from December 14th, 2020. Councilor Cook, would you like to take this?
Yes, thank you very much. It was posted with the added amendments, and do you want me to read it, Denise, or is it?
No, I believe we advertised it correctly.
Okay. All right.
Do you, if you want to briefly go over the changes since the last time we saw it?
Yeah, the changes were mostly in section 10.2, dogs considered a public nuisance, that was added on. So, and the other changes that we made when we looked it over, the whole council looked it over, wanted C, and all that language was changed with Mr. Marcello. The dog is considered to unreasonably disturb the peace if it causes disturbance by excessive barking or other noise making for sustained periods of more than 1/2 hour or during the hours of 10 and 6 a.m. so as to disturb the quiet of the neighborhood or area. This subsection does not apply to a dog guarding, working, or herding livestock.
And we changed the fines also, didn't we?
What was that?
Did we change the fines?
No, actually, it was we want the fines changed. I was going to talk about that because it was still the 50 and the 75. So we have to go over there. There's another that I want, the hours I wanted to look at for during the hours of disturbance. I was thinking that 10 o'clock's kind of late to hear a barking dog. There's a lot of people that go to work and they're in bed by 10. I was thinking to change it to 9 to 7.
Well, I think we did that according to the noise ordinance. Is that
That
right?
the dogs,
Attorney Marcello, so after 10 o'clock, the noise ordinance takes effect?
I don't remember why we did it. I do remember that it was at 10 o'clock though.
Yeah, I think it's because.
could we make it earlier?
Well, we could, but the noise ordinance does state 10 o'clock, I believe. Does anyone want to correct me, or do you think I'm correct?
I recall that it was 10 o'clock on the noise ordinance.
Yeah, and that's why we decided to make it for 10. I mean, we can we change the noise? How do I want to put this? Can we say dogs can't bark after 9, but you can make all the noise you want till 10?
You could make that distinction, yes.
Okay.
But it's up to the council. The only thing that I want to, go ahead, finish. I just have a technical thing that I want to correct on the penalties as well. But if you know any more discussion, I think, I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt anymore.
So Donna, you want to make that 9 o'clock? Donna, your suggestion is 9 o'clock?
Yes, I would like to do that.
Okay.
The other,
How about the penalties? What did you want to change that?
Denise, can we,
Okay.
Denise, can we, if we're going to vote on this, can we just, if that's a motion to change the 10 to the 9, can we just do that as that motion?
Well, I wasn't going to do that until after I opened the public hearing.
Good point. Thank you. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I also wanted to look at the 6 a.m. I believe with the noise ordinance, you're not allowed to stop mowing or cutting down trees or making any kind of noise till 8 o'clock. Is that the,
I don't know. I'll have to look that
Do
up.
we know what section the noise ordinance is in?
Oh, I used to, but
Under environmental, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, hang on.
if I look at it quickly, I could probably find it, Mike. But
Yeah, I think I found the section.
I know where it wasn't where I thought it would be.
Excessive
The,
noise.
the trash
withdraw.
trucks come way earlier than that.
I think it's 6. I think it's 6. It's 6. I want to say 7 to 10.
I think it's 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Me too. But there's so much that fills my mind. I can't be sure.
Yeah, so, well, fireworks
all right,
is
is
7
Mike
to 11.
looking it up?
Yeah.
Fireworks is 7 to 11. Emission of construction is 9 p.m. to 7 a.m.
9 a.m.
Yard maintenance and all that kind of stuff is 9 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Is it 9 p or 9 a?
9 p.m. to 7 a.m. is when it's prohibited.
Okay.
Weapons, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Oh,
And got to be a general one that I'm
So
missing somewhere.
there's already a lot of 9 and 7. Yeah.
there's something.
Yeah, I think
Can we
there's a
change it
general
to
one that
9
I'm
to
missing.
9 p.m. to 7.
I think there is one you're missing.
Go ahead with your questions. I'll look and get back. I'll let you know.
So Donnie, you want to change that to what time?
9 p.m. till 7 in the morning, the barking of the dogs.
Okay.
All right. So should I make we have to have the hearing
I'm
first,
going to
right?
open it up. Does anyone else want to make any change to it before I open it up?
Just okay, 10-1 section. Where the hell did it go? Oh, section E. chase vehicles or molest, attack, not attach, again, or interfere.
Yeah,
Say that again, Jay.
it was just a typo. I got it.
Okay,
Oh, does it still say attack?
Yeah, I don't know. That was changed, but I don't know why.
Attached.
Yeah.
Oh, beauty of computers.
All right, so that's where you, yeah, that's supposed to be changed.
okay, so at this point, I'd like to open up the public hearing.
Oh, well,
Anything-
Denise, I'm sorry, Denise, one last thing. So, I thought I put this and I don't know why. I'm gonna check when I get off. The penalties were gonna be, that's gonna be moved to the fees and fines ordinance. So the 10-3, the penalties will be moved to the fees and fines ordinance that we have.
Will they be removed from this?
No, it'll reference this, but it'll be in, it will.
Yeah, we're gonna have a meeting where we're gonna discuss the fees and fines. So is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying that this, I mean, apparently that all our ordinances have the penalties were removed from the actual ordinance and put in the fees and fine ordinance. It's all, they're all in one. So the penalties for this needs to be removed and put in the fees and fines ordinance.
All right, but my question is, Donna, did you want to leave the first offense at 50?
I'm just gonna, Jennifer, Stills, the ACO, and it is in the ordinance right now. It is 25 and 50, and she wanted to keep it that way. And
Okay.
I would just like to, kind of respect her for that.
So Mike, if we approve this
So I'd
ordinance,
like-
I just have a question, like, I guess it's a bookkeeping question. If we approve the first offense to be 25 and the second to 50, that will go to the fines and fees?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. It just will be
Yeah.
removed from here, but we are voting on what the fines and fees for this would be.
You're gonna change the number, but you're also gonna make the motion that be put in the fees and fine, the section 10.3 be moved to the fees and fines ordinance.
Okay,
I
Didn't-
have another
didn't-
question though.
go ahead. Go ahead, Donna.
When we move the fines and fees, along with the fines and fees, it's saying the second offense at least 30 days. Is that? I don't know if that follows the.
That will be moved as well, yes.
Yep,
There
Okay.
was discussion by the council at the last meeting that they wanted to make sure that there was a 30-day lag between the first and second day of offense. So you couldn't call the neighbor, if you had a noisy dog, the neighbor couldn't call every day and get the fines moved up. So you had to have at least 30 days. So anybody who calls within the first 30 days, that's considered the first offense.
Right, and then in the back on C, it says the third offense is 100 days. So all of this language, as far as fees and fines, are going to be in that section with this language, right?
Yes.
now Donna, do you still recommend the $100?
Yes.
Okay. Counselor Janik, I see your hand.
Couple of typos where it says following fines as listed in the town's fees and fine ordinance is spelled wrong.
Yeah.
And then under B, offense is spelled wrong in 2 places. But I also have a question, Donna, did we not say, and I maybe not remembering this correctly, did we not want to have kind of a warning before we fine people?
It's already in upon receipt of complaint. It talks
Issue
about.
a warning. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
the first offense after the warning.
Yeah,
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, the warning is new. It never had a
Okay.
warning before.
Right, because I remember you saying that. Okay.
all right. I'd like to open this
Real
up.
quick, before you do, Madam President, just to answer the noise question. It's in 136. It's based on the zoning district of residential and open space, the maximum levels for those areas. So the There's a higher maximum level from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., but the lower maximum level is from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, at this point, I'd like to open up the public hearing. Anyone from the public who would like to speak? Chris, is there anyone? I see people in the attendees. If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. I see Joe Souza has his hand up. Do you see that, Chris?
Yes.
I think I can allow him to talk. Let me try it. Nope. Chris, can you bring Joe in?
Yes.
Hi, Joe.
He's
Hang
muted.
on, you're muted.
Joe, you're muted.
Or he's frozen.
Okay, just wondering how it works. If you have a call at 11, 12 o'clock at night about a barking dog, what happens?
If the dog is barking between those hours for more than a half hour, as indicated in the ordinance, they can get a warning.
That's not what I mean. How does the police officer respond? Does he have to sit there for a half an hour and listen to
No.
the dog barking? Because otherwise, he can't prove in municipal court that the dog was barking for half.
He has a witness, which is a neighbor. It's a witness.
Okay, so the witness would have to appear.
Yep.
So we would know who was calling if it was taken to a municipal court. Because that's the thing, I wouldn't want to see it be vindictive. Thank you.
Yeah, Joe, if I could, I'll just read what it says about your first of all, the animal officer, they only have certain hours, so I imagine a police officer would have to answer the call at this point and make out would they have warning papers? That's another question, because she only works certain hours. And on the weekends, I don't know if she works.
Well, we would have to talk with the chief and make sure that every cruiser has warning papers, I would imagine.
Okay,
And would report it to the dog officer on Monday morning when she is there.
all right. So Joe, if I could, upon receipt of a complaint, they issue a warning in writing to the owner or keeper of the dog that violations result in the imposition of a civil penalty. Any person found by the animal control officer or affirmed in writing by two more persons have separate residences in the neighborhood to be in subsequent violations. So it is asking for differing households to be complaining about the same thing. So it can't be vindictive. So I think that was your concern, Joe?
Yes, exactly. I just,
Okay.
people picking on it,
It's-
one
it's-
neighbor feuding with another and using the police department, as revenge.
Yeah, it is in here.
Anyone else would like to speak? They can dial in, right, Chris?
Yes, hang on. I got it here somewhere.
I have it too.
So you can dial in at 877-853-5247. You need to use the meeting ID of 831-1015-8669. And again, is there anybody in the attendee room who would like to speak? Please raise your hand. Currently, there is none, Madam President. Again, if you want to call in, it's 877-853-5247. The meeting number is 831-1015-8669. So, and is there anybody in the attendee room who would like to speak? Please raise your hand. Not seeing any. So, third and last time, anybody who would like to call in, it's 877-853-5247. The meeting ID is 831-1015-8669. And I don't see any new attendees. even by phone, and there's nobody in the attendee waiting room waiting to, with their hand up.
Okay, thank you. Now, Chris, I'm a new administrator here. Can I remove?
I'm doing it now.
So how do you do it? You just press remove for Joe?
No, don't remove
Oh,
it.
don't remove.
So,
I'm learning how to do this, so if I insult anybody,
So do
I'm
you-
sorry.
So do you have your attendee list?
Yes, I got it now.
Under
Yeah,
the
I just,
list.
I
If
just
you go to
figured it
him
out.
on the list,
Yeah,
under more, you can change him back to an attendee, which I just did.
I just figured it out. Okay, thank you. So I'd like to close the public hearing. Any of the counselors want to say anything or ask any questions? Any further, Mike?
So I would just, I'm sorry, Mike, I'm sorry. No, go ahead, Mike, go ahead, sorry.
Mike Burke,
So-
I'm sorry.
So just a couple questions, because I know, going back to Joe's question, I know I read it, where you'd have to have a neighbor confirm it, but I can't find where it is. Can somebody point that out to me?
It's right in the ordinance. I just read it, Mike.
Yeah, but where? Where?
Section 10,
It's
penalties,
section
Mike.
10.3.
10.3.
page 2 at the
Any,
bottom.
it says
Upon,
officer or affirmed in writing by 2 or more persons having separate
Oh,
residence.
there it is. Sorry, I read that paragraph 3 times while Joe was talking, and I missed it. Thank you. And then what I wasn't clear is we'll vote on, when we vote, we'll include the offenses, but they're going to be moved to the other section.
Correct.
Correct.
When we discussed this last time, I thought we had talked about a longer time frame between the first and the second offense, and I don't see a time frame
It
between.
says 30 days.
Under B,
I know.
It says 30
So I know. On B, I thought we had talked about a longer time frame between the first and second offense. And then I don't see a time frame between the second and third offense.
So my notes from that meeting reflected only one concern between the first and second offense.
Okay,
And my notes reflected a 30-day time period. Again, it was general discussion, but that's, that's.
right.
And we did not discuss between the second and third.
Well, the second one says, the second offense is at least 30 days from the date of a citation for the first offense.
Right. No, I'm talking for that part, Donna, there's no time
For the
frame
third.
between yeah. So I could get cited the second time today, and then tomorrow night, I could get cited a third time.
Okay, so do you want the same wording, 30 days?
Yeah, personally, I think 30 is too short, but whatever we have, I think we have to have a time frame for both.
Yeah, okay.
So Mike, what are you
That's up-
suggesting? What do you think should be between the second and third offense?
I think they should be consistent. So if the will of the group is 30 days between first and second, then it should be the same between the
Okay,
second and third.
yeah.
Whatever is chosen should be the same. My
So we'll
opinion.
just have to add that language where the third, between the second and the third, it's 30 days. Which I'm trying to find where that is. Okay. Anyone else? Jay? Council Edwards?
All right, my opinion on this is if we're going to do this, we don't want to end up diluting it to the point where the ordinance just becomes useless. Anybody who's had to live through a barking dog in a neighborhood instance, when they finally get to the point where they want action to be taken, they don't want it to drag on for months. If you get to that point, you're fed up. So, okay, a month between the first and the second offense, but certainly no more than a month between the second and the third, at which time the owner should have had his attention gotten. And if he has not, or she has not, then action needs to be taken because, dog owners have rights, but so do people that don't want to listen to them barking all day. support that.
So what are you saying, Jay? Do you agree with the 30 days language for the second and third offense?
No more than that.
Or do you want it to be 2 weeks?
Well, personally, I'd rather have it be like 2 weeks,
Because,
but I'll go with whatever the majority of us want to do, I'll go along with. But like I said, we're going to enact an ordinance and we want to deal with a problem, then we don't want to the ordinance so much that the problem just continues, forever without a resolution.
So
Counselor Burke.
my only comment, Jay, and I do live across from a home that has a barking dog because they take in emotionally disturbed animals, more or less, only one dog at a time. And they do their best with it, but it's not a dog that you're going to take to obedience classes and it's going to magically solve itself. Dogs on medication too. Do they have it out all night? No. Are they responsible dog owners? Absolutely yes. And I would hate to see their dog taken from them in 2 months' time, even though they've been doing what they can to alleviate the situation.
well,
Counselor Janik, wait a minute. Counselor Janik.
I'm getting confused now about these days because the second offense we're saying is at least 30 days from the date of the citation, of the first citation. So if the first offense occurs and the second one is
30 days.
not, it's not 30 days, it's within 2 weeks, is that not a second offense? Because I think it's confusing.
No, it's
So,
it's-
are you going to
Madam
explain that
President?
to me? Yeah.
So I have to, so if I get cited today for my first offense, I cannot be cited again until the third week of February, whatever 30 days out is from that.
right.
And then if I get cited
30
the second
days.
time and we stick to the 30 days, then it's the third week of March or whatever. So it's 30 days from each date.
Yes. That's how I understand it also.
It could be longer. I could get cited the second time in 60 days, but it can't be
So-
short.
So if
Well-
you get cited today and then your dog barks for the next 3 weeks, that's okay?
Yeah.
I can't be cited again for 30 days.
I don't know. And the other thing is, I mean, the other way, if you look at it, if you're cited for your first offense and then now it's a year later and the dog's barking, is that another first offense?
Yes. I would understand it would be.
I'm locked. I can't blink. Why am I locked? I can't.
Wait a minute. Is anyone
What
hearing other things right now?
I did,
I think
yes.
Joe is having some trouble with his audio.
Okay. Yeah, Deb, that's what I understand. If it's, well, no,
No, it would still
it
flow.
would be your second offense.
It could be 5 years from now.
Leave and then come back.
I think
yeah, I just have to say, if I could, I don't think there's a timing out of the offenses. It's still on record. If it's still a problem, it needs to go first, second, and third. There's a minimum of 30 days between the first and the second. There isn't any maximum for all of a sudden it starts all over again. If it's a problem dog, it's a problem dog. Whether it's 6 months from now, it would then be the second offense. It's only a minimum. You can't give us another, let's say the second offense can't happen 2 days or a week or 2 weeks after the first offense. It has to be 30 days, giving people a chance to either get instruction about how to help their dog stop the barking or try to get it under control. But it's still should be considered a matter of record that would be a second offense. It doesn't time out.
That makes more sense to me than what Donna just said. I understand that. I do have a question on part C though, and it says the animal may be impounded. Who decides if they're impounded and what are the criteria? I'm just seeing people say, well, it happened to this person, they impounded the animal, and now it's happened to somebody else and they're not impounding. So who decides that and what's the criteria?
So according to the ordinance, I'm sorry if I can interrupt, according to the ordinance would be decided by the animal control officer. That's what it says. And then, of course, if someone disagreed with that, they could take it to court and have a judge rule whether or not it was
Okay.
justified or not.
So you're okay with that legal language then, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
It gives the animal control officer some discretion, because we want the animal control or a police officer to have some discretion. As Mike said, there could be a unique circumstance. Maybe the dog was, barking because maybe just had some kind of, surgery or something, or who knows, or, so you want to give some discretion.
Okay.
I mean, all the questions that you have are good ones. I remind the council that, this is putting back into the code of ordinances something that was taken out about 15 years ago. And I have a feeling that it was probably taken out 15 years ago because it was probably either very hard to enforce or you got a lot of complaints one way or the other. But I don't get to make those kind of decisions, and that's what's before you.
You're muted, Denise.
No, where did Denise go?
Councilor Edwards,
Oh,
I'm muted because my dog is barking.
Is that,
Warning.
So, they could
No,
come
but
here
you
right now.
well,
Jones'
that's
name.
because this is a rough thing to deal with.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. Gibby wouldn't approve of this ordinance. All right, go ahead, Councilor Edwards.
Okay, just consider this for a moment, if you will. The purpose of this thing is basically to give the animal control officer some guidance and the ability in writing to deal with the problem. Now, I think any of us, well, I had this problem. So here's what I ended up doing. And at the time, there was no ordinance. You call the animal control officer on a Monday. Well, okay. I worked shifts at the time. So I slept during the day if I could. So the way I finally had to deal with the problem was I literally called the animal control officer daily, or even twice daily, or even 3 times daily. They came up, the police actually came up, they used their noise meter, and I was finally asked by one officer, why are you putting up with this? I said, I'm not. I'm trying to get you guys to deal with it. Well, there was no ordinance. Well, finally, I don't know what they did. The problem was solved, and actually, the owners moved. But, either they got upset up with me or whatever it was, but I didn't care at that point. I just wanted it resolved. I wanted to be able to get 4 hours of sleep during the day if I was lucky. So this has timelines built into it, but I'm sure you can bet that if an individual who has the issue is calling the animal control officer every day, that's going to be prima facie evidence to them that we've got a problem here. We got to deal with it. And the ordinance will help.
Anyone else? Councilor Vieira, and then I'll go to Councilor Burke.
Good evening, everyone. Donna, I just want to congratulate you on this legislation. I know you've been working on this for months with different people. I know that this type of situation, you go back to 2013 with the leash law. So I know that these type of ordinances are important to you.
Yeah.
For me, personally, section 10-1, D, the odors and the unclean conditions. I mean, that, depending, it could be any farm down the south end that could apply to. And F, create a condition that is dangerous to human life or health. I mean, that's kind of broad, a very broad interpretation for any kind of officer to interpret. So for me, D and F, very broad, open to interpretation. A little bit of a concern on my part, but I did want to address that. Thank you.
Bill, I would like to say something about that, and Donna can intervene if she likes, but we had very many properties where there was a rat problem, where the rats were coming into the property. That would be a health problem. And there was a couple of other cases where it was a health life or a health problem. So I think that's where Donna was going with that, because especially with the chicken farms, the people who are having chickens, sometimes it attracts rats. And we actually had neighbors that had rats coming right up their deck because of what was going on. And that was a health problem. So Donna, am I right? Is that where you were going with that?
Yes, but you have to remember the Article 1, which it's under public of animals, nuisance of animals, and then we go into section where it's about dogs. So the first part, Bill, regarding many different types of animals, because on John Duggan Road, we still have the problem with the goats and the chickens, and it's horrendous. So this kind of correlates with and helps people, because people have to come first in their homes and their quality of life. And if it interferes with that, then the first section helps with that. The second part is it kind of hones it in on dogs. So that's what this is about. It's like an animal ordinance, and then it goes into subsections.
Now, as far as the odors, we've had problems with farms where there has been odors, and if you all remember the clamshell incident.
Oh my God, the flies.
Yeah, where
right?
they were putting clamshells on their driveway.
Yeah.
And that was awful. We could smell it for miles on Stafford Road. So I think that's what that refers to. Normal farm odors is different than what I think is referring to here.
Right.
Councilor Burke.
So I have another question based on that conversation of Mike, but let me ask this question first. Mike, on the second page under 10.2B5, it says during search and rescue and similar public service training. Why is it limited to training and not search and rescue activities?
That language came from the
Existing?
ASPCA.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, Mike, if you look at it, it says during search and rescue and similar public service training. So
Yeah.
I think if you read it, to me, it's.
I read that as meaning both. I read training as being part of both of those.
I read it as search and rescue dogs and public service training.
Yeah, two separate clauses there, Mike.
Okay, if that's the intent, then okay. To go back to Bill's concern about the odors, and I am familiar with the clamshell incident, but doesn't D open it up, Mike, to a farm being considered at least questioned as being a public nuisance for normal operations, a horse farm, spraying manure on a field, those kind of things?
It could, but there's another It could, but there's another statute, the Right to Farm Act, which would probably take us out of this. So that would be defense to this, Right to Farm Act, it deals with the normal farming activities, right?
That's what I
So,
was saying, yeah.
but if you were to, put a horse farm and then spread, seashells all over the horse farm, then you might have a problem there, or bring in garbage to feed your horses, that you might have a different problem there.
Okay. Thank you.
But these are all good questions, because this is why I believe that I think the town probably got frustrated and just took it all out and left us with no really mechanism to enforce some of this stuff.
Administrator Carter, and then Jay, I see your hand, you'll be next.
So in the same vein as that question, I know that Donna had alluded to the fact that, section 2 was more related to the dogs, but the penalties still apply to section 1.
Correct.
We have people who have animals in the north end that are not, there's no zoning requirement, there's no ordinance requirement that they can't. So, and we have free range chickens on Brayton Road that, is somebody gonna get fined for chickens that don't even belong to them? So I don't have any issue with the fine being applied to the dogs, section 2, but we're gonna have a tough time controlling section 1. And we've gotten complaints from about a lot of different areas. And I know Donna's been working on some of them, but I don't want this to open up the door to now that we start fining people for being a nuisance when we didn't create an ordinance about other animals that we were trying to dictate or direct us towards, dog issues.
Well, the 10-3 penalties, that only refers to dogs, am I correct?
No.
It applies to section 10.
Yes, if you read it, it does.
No,
No, read the second sentence.
10.2.
It says the owner or the keeper of the dog.
Read the second sentence.
Any person found in violation of section 10-1 or 10-2 can be fined.
Applies to both.
Which I don't see anything wrong with that.
It's talking about dogs. I don't understand how it turned into chickens.
No, because Donna,
You
if
can't
you
take
read-
chickens.
But Donna, they are correct. If you read it, it says section 10-1 or section 10-2.
10-1 applies to all animals. Then we carve out a special rules for dogs.
Right, but these fines,
The fines apply to both, correct?
okay. Which, like Chris says, I think that we should apply to both.
Oh,
Because,
are you saying that you want 10-3 to include other nuisance animals
It
that have
already
an
does.
offense?
It already does.
I think so.
It already does, Donna, if you read it. Read the second sentence.
I don't know. When I look at 10-3, it's talking about dogs.
No,
though.
no, no. Look at the second sentence. And it says, any person found by the animal control officer or affirmed in writing by 2 or more people of separate residents in a neighborhood to be in subsequent violation of section 10-1 and 10-2. But if you read 10-1, I don't,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah, I don't think that would be a problem. I think if you do have a rat problem because of your chickens, then I think you should be fined. I personally don't see a problem with
I agree.
fining those people for 10-1, because you'd have to if you're gonna just do dogs.
Yeah,
So the person who has a goat on John Dugan Road, who's allowed to have it because there's no prohibition against it, because the neighbor doesn't like the smell of it, he can be fined. That's what I'm getting at.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
According to this ordinance, yes.
Yes.
But
I
if
know.
the goat is smelling to the point that you can't sit on your deck and enjoy a barbecue, then I think that's a problem.
Okay, I just want that to be clear, that that's what you're voting on.
Well, I think this ordinance started because of things like that, because people who couldn't enjoy their backyard because of the nuisances next door. And I think there's a way to control that. If you have a goat, then you keep it tidy and as best as you can. Because there are people that have goats other places that their neighbors aren't complaining. Jay?
Okay. I had a real strong suspicion that this whole conversation was going to delve into this. So I took the time to read the entire Right to Farm Act. And pretty much a farm is 5 acres or more. And if you have a farm, or you want to call it a farm, and you have the acreage, then you have a lot of protections. And among them is the neighbors can't just maliciously complain about your farm operation.
Right.
Now, having a potted tomato plant and 2 chickens in the backyard in the north end of Tiverton does not constitute a farm.
Correct.
I'm not saying people can't have chickens and they can't have roosters, although there's been a lot on Facebook about this. But if they become a nuisance and your neighbors are getting sick and tired of a rooster crowing at 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's for the world that he's ready to be awake, why aren't you? Or if your neighbors decide to have 3 llamas in the backyard, which I would love to have, then you will have the option with this ordinance to raise a little hell about it. That's what it's about. It's not saying that these people can't do these things. If you have a small house lot in North Tiverton, you are not protected under any Right to Farm Act. You have to meet the zoning requirements.
Correct. And that's been discussed before when people come to us with nuisances. Just because you have a couple of chickens and a goat, you don't have a farm.
No, you do not, unless you got 5 acres or more and it's zoned.
Right. Councilor Burke.
Just Mike, if you look at 10.3 again, that paragraph, I think I'm reading it that before I can get fined for a dog, I have to be warned, because that's in the first sentence.
Yes.
But the second sentence is what applies to 10.1. So I don't have to be warned. It can go straight to a first offense fine, correct?
For the animals,
For the animal, yeah.
non-dogs, yes, that's how it's written.
Well, for anything, yes, okay. So if we vote on it this way, there's no warning to the person with the goat.
Correct.
Okay.
But we can change that and put it
No,
up.
I'm saying, yeah, as written.
Yeah, as written, but we certainly can make a motion to change that. And make it for all offenses. In section 10.1 and 10.2. Anyone else? Okay, so now I'd like to entertain a motion, and would any counselor like to make a motion regarding this?
Oh, I'll make a motion. I'm not sure exactly how to word it. I would make a motion that we adopt.
Yep.
Tiverton Town of Ordinances, Article 1, Public Nuisance of Animals Prohibited, as amended. And I think
We haven't amended it.
We haven't amended it, so
Are we going
taking the fees and fines and placing it over to the fees and fines ordinance.
Okay, and it would just reference to go there, right?
Right. And the other one is, I don't know if you agree about the warning being to all of section 1 and section 2.
And we
Madam President, can we start from the top just so it's clear? So I got to write this down, and then the clerk has a comment about the fees and fine ordinance. I want her that she just texted me when we were talking this. But the first discussion was whether we want to change the time under C from 9 p.m. From 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. That was the first suggestion.
I was getting there. Yes.
Sorry, I just want to go down from the top to bottom because it's how I wrote it.
Okay.
That's okay with you. And while we can, so that would be the first motion. If anybody wants to make that amendment, to change the time, section C.
Oh,
Let's see if Jay would like to incorporate in his motion. Is that okay?
Well, I think we're gonna do all the amendments at piecemeal, so,
That what we gotta do?
I think so, yeah.
I don't
Unless,
think
go ahead.
Okay, so do we really have to do that? Could Jay make the motion with all the amendments
He could.
that he want, like if he agrees with the amendments? I'm not putting words into his mouth.
Correct, he
But
can do
if he
that.
agrees with these amendments, it could be part of the initial motion.
Yes.
Correct.
As long as, my problem is I just want him to be specific enough because I'm not writing anything that he does not put on. So
Okay.
it's not
So-
my job to, I can't correct, well, I can't put language in there that the council doesn't pass.
Absolutely. So Jay, do you agree with the time change?
All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve Article 1, Public Nuisance of Animals Prohibited, with a change in 10 to C, where we change the times from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., change that to 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. We remove section 10.3 penalties, but reference the town noise ordinance. That we change, we wouldn't change, well.
No, wait a minute.
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead, Mike.
Shooting.
That we separate this out. We vote on section 10.1. We vote on section 10.2 and any changes. And then we deal with section 10.3 and moving it, directing it that it be moved to the appropriate ordinance, part of the ordinance on penalties.
Okay, but meanwhile, can I hear from the town clerk? Because she's waving to me there. Go ahead, Joan.
I just wanted to mention that the fees and fines ordinance does not contain all the fees and fines. Those are in the individual ordinance. So
I thought
it just says in that ordinance, it says refer to the other individual ordinances for the fees and fines. So you really need to leave section 10.3 here. in
So
this ordinance.
it's more of a summary than the fees and fine ordinance is more of a summary of all the penalties in the town. Okay. I was told two different things about that, so that's fine. So, okay.
Okay,
Understood
so
what was, as I thought Denise had said all of this was going to be moved.
well, that's what Mike had said.
That's what the solicitor said, yes.
Yeah. It's not, it wasn't me.
All right,
All right,
so
so Jay, would you like to take Mike's suggestion and we'll approve 10.1 first and then go from there?
yeah, let's see if we can get that much done.
Okay, so anything that you would like to change in 10.1? I don't think so.
The word attack, we gotta just collect the spelling error.
We
in E.
discussed that already. Where's it? All right, so that,
It says attach.
yeah, that's in 10
E.
where it says attach or interfere would be attack or interfere.
Okay.
Under 10-2, dogs considered a
No,
public.
no, 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 we'll just do 10.1. We'll
Oh,
make a
okay.
motion to approve 10.1.
uh,
That's okay with you with changing attached to attack.
Okay,
Do I have a second to that?
Second,
Okay, so the motion is to accept 10.1 and in section E to change attached to attack. Counselor Burke,
yes.
Counselor Cook,
yes,
Counselor Janet,
Yes,
Counselor Edwards, Counselor Vieira,
No,
Counselor Perry. You're muted, Joe.
No,
Okay, so 5-2, it's been approved. The next is section 10.2. Would you like to make a motion, Jay?
yeah, see if I can screw this up some more.
Okay, so 10.2, is that where the time is?
Yes.
yes,
So I make a motion that in section 10.2, dogs considered a public nuisance. Subparagraph C, we changed the times where it says, well, I'll read the whole thing. The dog is considered to unreasonably disturb the peace that causes a disturbance by excessive barking or other noise making for sustained periods of more than 1/2 hour or during the hours of change to 9 a.m. or I'm sorry, 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. so as to disturb the quiet of a neighborhood area.
Okay. So do I have a second to that motion?
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Okay. So, motion made by Council Edwards, second by Councilor Janik. Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
No,
Councilor Janik,
Yes,
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
No,
Councilor Perry,
No,
and I'm a yes. Motion passes 4-3. Section 10-3 penalties. Would you like to make a motion to approve that? Okay. And I think we're gonna change that. Well, it was suggested we change that the warnings be also to the animals in 10-1. Am I correct?
so if I may, I think you just have to, we would just change dog to animal
Yes.
and fix ordinance spelling.
Jay, do you want to make a motion?
Are
an
we,
offense too.
are we at to the owner or keeper of the animal? Is that where we're at?
Yes, instead of dog, change it to animal. And there's some spelling correction, right?
Ordinance at the end of that paragraph.
And offense twice in B.
And what, B?
B. Spelled wrong twice.
Yeah.
It's the old English spelling.
Thank you, Mike, for that.
Let me ask a question here. Did we change the fines?
Not yet.
But we did.
You're gonna have to change the fines, the first offense to 25 and the second to 50.
We discussed it, and these are
As
going to stay,
advised by the animal control officer, if that's okay with you.
and they'll remain in this ordinance.
Yes.
Okay. You want me to make a
So
mess
that
of?
would be your motion. So your motion would be to approve 10-3, change dog to animal, correct the spelling for offenses in all the areas, and the first offense would be 25 and the second would be 50. Does that sound right to you, Jay?
Yeah, I think that's what we bandied about. Okay.
We also, Madam President, we also discussed a time frame for the
Yeah.
second to third offense.
Mike, can we just pass those first and let's go back to that discussion because that's going to need some language. I want to make sure it's right. So can
Okay.
can we make those amendments that he just made and then we'll go back to, we'll leave it open to go back to 10-3.
Yep,
Okay, do I have a second to 10-3?
just the amendments, right, Mike?
Yes.
Just the amendments.
Right. We're not gonna talk about 10, C yet. So it'll be
Correct.
10-3. It'll be,
Question, Madam President.
yes.
Could
Yes.
you repeat what those changes are, please?
Sure. So in the first sentence, where it says to the owner or keeper of the dog, we're changing that to
Right.
animal.
Correct?
We are correcting all the spelling with offense
And ordinance.
and ordinance. And the first offense will be $25 and the second offense will be 50.
Thank you.
Do I have a second to Jay's?
I'll
I'll
second.
second it.
I'll give it to Donna this time.
Donna, yeah.
All right, so I
Like
have,
Jeopardy, Donna.
I have a motion and a second. Counselor Cook,
Okay.
Counselor Cook, yay or nay?
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes,
Counselor Janik? I think Deb just froze.
Yeah, she did.
I'll move on till she unfreezes. Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Vieira,
No.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.
I'm a yes, and where is Counselor?
Deb's talking.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I hate
Yes.
Zoom. I hate every part of Zoom. Okay, so 6-1 approved. Thank you, Deb.
Yes.
Okay, we hear you. All right, so now we'll.
It's here that my internet's unstable, so.
So now we'll go to C. Anyone would like to talk about? Mike, you said we're gonna have to change that language?
Well, we discussed changing it to a similar timeframe. As long as, on the third offense, as long as,
Can we change it on the third offense, 30 days after the second, something
yeah,
like?
that's, yeah, I'm trying to get the same, as long as the third, I think it should be written the same way too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it'll be written C, third, T with the number 3, RD, offense, dash, or dots, all the dots, $100, as long as said third offense is at least 30 days. 30 days
From the date of,
from the date of a citation for the second offense.
Right.
and then do you want to keep it maybe impounded by the animal control officer?
Yeah, and then I just add that to the end. Does that read well, Mike?
I would actually put the, as long as the third offense after the word animal, right? So I got the third in the thing. You know, I got the change to the third with the ... The owner must pay a $100 fine and such animal may be impounded by the animal control officer and all impounding fees and any additional costs of boarding the animal as long as said third offense is at least 30 days from the date of a citation from the second offense, just to keep it consistent.
So moved. You have it written down, right?
I do. I wrote it down. Yeah.
Okay, so motion by Mike. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Seconded by,
Question,
wait a minute, question, seconded by.
question on the, question.
Yes, I know, just wait a minute. Let me get the second, then I'll do discussion. So seconded by Counselor Edwards, now discussion. Who has a question?
I do, Madam President.
Okay,
In the event that the animal is impounded, and the owner flees the area, who's responsible to pay the fees and boarding of the animal? Would that come back to the town?
it would be the
No,
owner's
it's-
expense, I would think.
That's what it says here.
But I'm saying, if the owner flees and takes off and just,
Yeah. It'll be there.
leaves town.
Be the town's expense, just like it is now.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
That's how it is now, and then it goes up for adoption, I believe. Okay, so I have a first and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, Donna,
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Janet,
Yes.
Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Vieira,
No.
Counselor Perry,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. So
yes.
6-1 motion passes.
Now, finally, Madam Clerk, just to be safe, I'd like that we pass Article 1, Sections 10.1, 10.2, and 10.3 as amended.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Counselor Edwards. Counselor Cook,
Wait 1 second. And I can do this as a separate motion. And when we do things like this, I would suggest we think about it, that we direct the solicitor to address any type of errors that we may have missed?
Non-substantive typographical errors, right?
Yes,
We can
so
put
I
that,
did,
so who made the motion?
I did, so
Okay, so we'll just add that to your motion. Jay, do you agree with that? Because you seconded it, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Counselor Cook,
Be-
Yes,
Joan's asking something.
go ahead, Joan.
So I just want to double check. So it's passing 10-1, 10-2, 10-3 as amended. And what was the last part?
directing the solicitor to address any non-substantive typographical errors that he finds.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, Counselor Cook, one more time.
yes,
Counselor Burke,
Yes,
Counselor Janik,
Yes,
Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Vieira,
No.
Counselor Perry,
no,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. Motion passes 6-1. Thank you, Donna. You did a lot of work, and I want to thank Attorney Marcello for consulting with Donna, and I think Donna will agree that you were very helpful.
Thank you, Donna.
thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Appointments and resignations. Library Board of Trustees, 7-member board, 3-year term, 2 vacancies, 1 application, John Edwards, 69 South Avenue, request appointment to expire 10/15/2023. I see that Jay is in the audience. Do we have, here he is. Welcome, Jay.
My dad.
Jay, you hear me? You're on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
There we go.
Hi, Jay.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Why don't you give us a brief summary of why you would like to join the library board?
I've been very active with all the library activities for as long as I've been in Tiverton. We actually used to live right down the street from the Essex Library. My kids, I still live next to it, but it's no longer the Essex Library. My kids lived there growing up. I always thought that the library is an important part of our community. And I was one of the 2 people who were able to get the legislation through that the new moratorium wouldn't affect our library when that moratorium was going into effect.
Jay, because we all know you're a state rep, is there a conflict you being on the library board and a representative?
Not that I'm aware of. I actually asked your solicitor if I could serve on the board, and he determined that I could. It's not against your charter.
Now, the library board, they have reached out to me, and they wanted to know if it's a concern of yours that you wouldn't be able to vote for any grants at the state level, seeing that you're on this board.
No, not that I'm aware of.
So there wouldn't be a conflict of interest.
Not that I'm aware of.
Attorney Marcello, do you agree with that?
Well, I don't think you'd be able to vote for a specific grant to the library of Tiverton, but you can vote for certainly library funding in general, which is part of the normal budget.
So if there's a specific for the library of Tiverton, hopefully other people will vote for it. But Jay probably would have a conflict of interest there.
I would just want to say it's not my role to determine who has a conflict or not have a conflict. I can't really, that's a hypothetical. If Mr. Rep. Edwards thinks there might be a conflict, he'd have to see guidance from the Ethics Commission, which he's allowed to do. But there's nothing that would prevent him from voting on a budget item in general that would affect libraries, because it affects all libraries at the same time. So
yeah, it's a general rule.
Okay. And then also, Jay, I know how busy you are, and that's a compliment. I know you're I mean, I'm not saying this is an insult. I know how busy the reps are and how much time it takes. Do you feel that you have the time to do this?
Well, I've gone to all their events, and I also know I've gone back and looked. They meet on Monday nights, which fortunately are a night that I'm free.
Good.
So, plus we have 6 months of the year off, except this year because we were constantly interrupted with COVID. But overall, we have the time, and I can make myself available on Monday nights.
You're an empty nester.
Yes, and as my wife pointed out, I'm an empty nester, so I have that going for me as well.
I can hear Donna in the background. And I'm also an empty nester, thank God, because that's why I have the time that I have here. Any of the councilors have any questions for Rep. Edwards? Councilor Burke?
Not a question, just a comment. Jay, I appreciate you stepping in and with everything that you have on your plate, being willing to do something at the local level again. And I do want to note that Joe Souza says that you can work on a repair plan for all the problems inside and out.
Especially since you have that construction background, Jay.
Yeah.
Might not be a bad thing.
But I appreciate that, and at the appropriate time, I'd be happy to make a motion, Madam President. But do we have to waive our rules too?
Yes, we'll have to wait it. And because there's 2 vacancies and only 1 candidate, we usually would waive it. So I have a
Okay.
motion to waive our rule. Do I have a
Correct.
second to that?
Second.
I have a second by Councilor Vieira. Any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor, Donna? To waive.
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik, Councilor Edwards. Deb, you muted, but I could see your mouth said yes. Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So it's a unanimous to waive our rule. Do I have a motion for the appointment of Jay Edwards?
So moved.
So moved.
All right, so I have 3 motions for it, so I'll take it from Mike because he wanted to do it. And Bill will second it. Any further discussion or any further questions for Jay? Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Congratulations, Jay, I think.
Well, I thank you very much, I think.
Thank you, Jay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank you
aboard,
all,
Jay.
and it was nice to see your debate on the animal ordinance and hear all your varied input. So I'm glad that we're not the only ones who get to debate animal bills.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Councilor Burke, could you take over the next 2? I have to make I'm getting an important phone call.
Sure. Thank you. So our next is Tax Assessment Board of Review. There are 3 members
He's a vice
on
chair.
the board, 3 terms. There are 2 3-year terms, 2 vacancies, and we have before us an application from Carol Guimond, 37 Neck Road. Request appointment to expire 10/15/2022. And is Carol here?
She is not.
Okay. Does anybody have any discussion on that, on appointing Carol? You have her application before you, real estate broker in Rhode Island and Mass for about 40 some odd years. I'm not doing the math well. She's she had a request from the town to volunteer and from the tax assessor. She's been a resident since 65, very knowledgeable about Tiverton property zoning changes. She was on the planning board or the zoning board?
The zone.
Zoning?
Probably both.
Yeah, probably. And plan updates, experience.
Zoning is both.
Any further, any discussion about Carol's application? If not, we will need to waive if we want to move forward.
I'll make a motion, we waive usual policy.
Councilman
I'll
Perry makes a
second-
motion.
I'll
Councilor
second
Janik
that.
seconds. Any further discussion? So Donna to waive,
Yes,
Deb,
Yes,
Jay,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes, yes.
Denise is out of the room for now, and Mike. Do I have a motion to appoint Carol to the Board of Review, Tax Assessment Board of Review?
So moved.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Jay moved,
Second.
Joe, I'll second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Donna,
yes,
Deb,
yes, I think we're very lucky to have somebody of her knowledge and skill set for the town to be on our tax assessment board.
agreed. Jay,
Yes.
Bill,
yes,
Joe,
Yes,
Mike, yes, and Denise out of the room still. And now we'll go to acknowledgement of resignations. You have in your packet resignation from Deb Palish from the Tiverton Town Farm Renovation Committee, and I'll just read it quickly for the record. Dear Madam Clerk, please accept my resignation from the above named committee. It has been a pleasure serving, but I am unable to continue my commitment at this time. I look forward to the exciting new playground and fitness park that the other school members are working to build. Thank you to the Tiverton Town Council for the opportunity. So,
Mike, can we make a motion to accept her resignation with regret and thank her for her years of service?
I hear you move that. Is there a second?
I'll
second.
I'll second.
Bill is the second. Joe made the motion. Discussion? And I would agree with Joe. In many ways, Deb puts a lot into the community, and this is one of those ways. All those in, Donna,
Yes,
Deb,
Sadly, yes.
Jay,
Yes, and thank you, Ted, for all you've done on this project.
Bill,
if I say no, does she have to stay on?
sorry,
I've been saying no a lot tonight, yes.
Joe,
Yes,
Denise,
Yes,
and Mike, yes, and I'll pass the time back to Denise.
I apologize, guys. I just had to take a call from work. General business, Councilor DiMadeira's scheduling of OMA seminar for February 24th, 2021. There's been a lot of concerns about the different committees and that minutes aren't being produced in a timely manner, or minutes aren't being done at all. Scheduled meetings aren't being advertised. And in the past, we've had these seminars where our attorney has gone over the specific rules and regulations, and I have found that it's been very helpful. I've talked to Chris about it, and we're going to require as much as we can that all the heads of these boards and commissions attend this seminar. And Chris is also encouraging them. Chris, I'll let you tell the rest of this right now.
So there's a number of different things that are out and available for members to become acclimated to the open meetings and access to public documents, which are two requirements that provide access for the public to either attend the meetings or B, gather documents for their own public review. The Attorney General puts on an annual symposium every year, usually over at Roger Williams University, and it's taped. They do actually. I had to take the time to go review the video of that presentation from last year to certify that I'm capable of understanding and knowing the Open Meetings Act and access to public documents, so that when we get requests for those kind of things, that we can answer them appropriately. And you have to certify for that. It would be nice if every one of the boards and commissions chairs had done the same thing, so that they can expound to their committee members what they need to do in order to comply with the law. And obviously, there is some general laws that are out there that are available for review. There is a summary finding that the Attorney General puts out as well. And I think, that I know that Mike, our solicitor, is going to be meeting, especially with the Budget Committee this coming Thursday, to go over some of these issues as a prelude, but it would be nice to get all the boards and commissions acclimated to these open meetings issues. It would be good. We have a number of complaints that we've seen over the years. It's costly for us to have to deal with those at times. We do deal with them, but it would be nice if everybody was familiar with the requirements of the Open Meetings Act. So we'll provide as much information as possible to educate people, but it would be beneficial if they all followed the certification process the Attorney General outlines for us.
So I'd like to encourage every member of boards and commissions to attend, but I think it's very important that the chairmans do attend. And as we discussed during the agenda meetings, we will be sending a memo to every board and commission, especially the chairman. And I'd like to encourage all the counselors to attend this too. I've been to several, and every time I go, I learn something new. So I think it's very important we all attend this also. And as Chris said, we have to be very conscious. We have been getting complaints, and we would like to reduce those complaints. And I think it's important that everyone's educated on this. And so that's February 24th. And I want to thank Attorney Marcello for doing this for us.
What time is that at, Denise?
7 o'clock. All right, moving on. Town Administrator, request approval of budget transfers, account 3306928, education seminar to 3306969, medical supplies for $2,500. Account, I think I can do this all together, right, Mike?
If you want to, yeah.
Okay, account 33306928, education seminar to 3306648, auto for $5,000. Account 3306928, education seminar to 3330799, state psychological testing for $1,200. Any discussion? Like to entertain a motion?
Madam President, I'll make a motion that we approve the requested budget transfers as you described and listed on the agenda.
Do I have a
Second,
I have a second. Okay, Joe Perry seconded. Counselor Cook,
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Janet,
Yes.
Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Vieira,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
yes.
and I'm a yes. Unanimous. Town Administrator, request approval for salary increase for Executive Assistant Mary Lou Sullivan, consistent with funding allocated for non-union raises and council contingency for FY21 budget. I'd like to table this until after the executive. Mary Lou is going to be discussed in executive, and then we'll come back to this in open. Is that okay with everyone?
Could you move
Yes.
8D for the same
Yes.
purpose?
Excuse me?
Could you move 8D for this very same?
Hey,
I'm going to go through that right now. So I'd like a motion to table this until after executive.
so moved.
Do I have a
Sec-
second? Second by Counselor Vieira. Counselor
I'll
Cook?
second.
Okay. So Counselor Cook, I would imagine that's a yes.
Yes.
Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Janet,
Yes.
Counselor Edwards. Counselor Edwards? I think you're muted, but okay. I think you said
No,
yes.
you're too far away from the mic.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay, Counselor Vieira,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. 8D, Request approval for a 2% pay increase for tax collector Tony Lynn McGowan effective July 1st, 2020, consistent with the approved FY 21 budget. I like to table this also until after executive session. Do I have a
So
motion?
moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Councilor Perry, seconded by Councilor Vieira. Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
yes,
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Thank you. 8E, Police Chief Jones requests permission to advertise to generate a hiring list for police officer candidates for July 2021 Police Academy.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the council. So unfortunately, we are back again to create a list, an eligibility list for police officers. I know the administrator submitted you some backup explaining the reasons for this, that it was approved by the council that we hire 4 police officers to attend the current academy, but unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, we were only limited to 2 seats. Fortunately, those 2 extra recruits served as backup because 1 recruit did not pass the entrance agility test to the academy, and a second one was hospitalized during the first week of the academy. So we do not have a current list for any future police officer recruits. So what I'm asking for tonight is that you give me the permission to start a process just at this time to create an eligibility list for future positions.
Any questions for the chief?
One question. So right now, do we have no one in the academy as of now?
No, sir, we have 2. So we had hoped to send 4 based on, your approval to send 4. We were restricted by the academy to 2. We had 2 backups, and thank God we had 2 backups because one was eliminated because they did not pass the entrance agility test, and another one was hospitalized during the first week of the academy. So as of right now, we have 2 recruits in the academy, but we are too short for the July class.
Denise,
Donna, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to Chief Jones request permission to advertise to generate a hiring list for police officer candidates for July 2021 Police Academy to be allowed.
Have a
second,
All right, motion's been made and second. All those in
I have-
favor? What?
I
Yeah,
have a question for the chief.
sure, Joe, go ahead.
The individual that got hurt at the academy,
Yes,
is
sir.
that considered, is that considered IOD?
That's another discussion that we're gonna discuss with the lawyer. Chris has a lot of background on that. And
Okay.
at some point, that's going to have to be discussed.
Okay,
Correct,
Thank you.
Chris? Okay. All right, so I have a motion and a second. Donna,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Deb,
yes,
Jay,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
and I'm a yes. Thank you, Chief Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, members of the council.
thank you, chief.
Okay, item 8F is mine. Discussion and possible vote to advertise public hearing for proposed amendment to remove sunset provision from Tiverton Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2 Administrative, Section 2-107, Casino Gaming Revenue. I want everyone to keep in mind that this isn't to approve what I am suggesting. This is just to go to public hearing. At that public hearing, I'm hoping that there'll be discussion and we'll make a decision on this. What I am suggesting is to remove the sunset clause with an expiration date of 6/30, 2021. If anyone had watched the previous meetings where we discussed this, I was the one that put the sunset clause in because I felt that the new town council should weigh in on this. And I also felt that we needed to see how much revenue was anticipated for the casino as the fall and the winter went on, and to see how COVID was going to lead us. I feel at this point, and I know at this point, the casino revenue is not what we expected. It's not looking like we're going to get the 3 million, of course. And this is just to remove the sunset clause. And afterwards, as was discussed with the old council, get a committee together, and that committee would come to us with suggestions on what we should do with this money or how this money should be distributed. I was the head of the casino committee way back when, and there was many good suggestions on how we could do this and how we could separate this into 3 funds or 2 funds. And I think that a committee that could get together and come to us by hopefully May and tell us what they think. I think this is important right now to do it. The budget committee is looking at all the budgets, and I just want to have some specific direction for them with this casino money. So like I said, this isn't a discussion on whether we approve it or disapprove what I'm suggesting. It's just to go to public hearing. And at that public hearing, we'll hear from the public, we'll hear from all of you, and we'll have a vote. Do I have a discussion? Mike?
Is this a discussion?
Yes, and Councilor Burke had his hands up first, Donna. So I'll do him and then I'll do you.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
No, it's all right.
That's okay. I actually, Madam President, and we can certainly have the discussion after it's put on the table, is to move that we advertise a public hearing for the proposed amendment to remove the sunset provision from the Tiverton Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, Administration, Section 2107, Casino Gaming Revenue, and hold that hearing on.
We didn't put a date, did we?
No, hold that hearing at the next council meeting, at the next
No, it has
council.
to be
3 weeks.
Oh, 3
It has
weeks.
to be
So,
21 days. And
okay.
so it's 21 days from today.
So what would the date, a special
Joan,
meeting
we
or at the
had a
regular
date.
meeting?
Didn't we have a date, Joan?
February 22nd.
Okay.
February 22nd?
That's
So
4
February
weeks.
22nd.
That's 4 weeks from today, so that's within.
Yeah.
Yes, because we advertise, the advertising cutoff is Monday at 4 PM. So we missed this week, so it has to be put in the paper next week. So 3 weeks from next week is the 22nd.
So the hearing will be held on February 22nd. That's the motion.
20.
Mike, can I just interrupt for 2 seconds? So
It's not, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So the amendment, the proposed amendment is what you're seeing, but when we advertise it, obviously, just like we did with the dog ordinance, you have the right to amend anything in the ordinance as you go along. So I just want to make sure the advertisement says to discuss this amendment and any other amendments that the council may consider.
Absolutely.
As a result of the public hearing.
As a result of the public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a second, then discussion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
All right, so many seconds. I'll give it to Joe Perry this time. All right, now discussion. Donna? Donna, do you have?
Yeah, can I speak?
Yes.
Are you calling me?
Yes, Donna, go
Okay,
ahead.
I thought you had said Joe. Okay. I just need a lot of this clarified. One of them is E. I know you're just going with the expiration date, but E was never established. Receipt, review, allocation, approval. None of that was ever established how this was supposed to occur and how it impacts the budget committee and their ability to figure out the capital expenses because it looks like they're either waiting on or can't make any. I think it impacts the budget committee on their ability to do their job and their duties and responsibilities. Also, they're also in the charter that there's no specific timeline for if this is the way it's going to be with the town council's in charge of it, no specific timeline to let the budget committee know how much money there is, what the recommendations are, or if the budget committee has any say in the recommendations. Is kind of Wild West with this, but in the
No,
budget committee, it kind of leaves them sort of hanging.
Donna, you weren't listening.
I was just wondering if.
Well, that's what once we just, if this ordinance goes through, then a committee will get together to talk about
Oh,
ease and then come to us with their recommendations. This would be a restricted account controlled by the town council, just like our other restricted accounts. We do have a capital account right now that's controlled by the town council. So this would be a restricted account. And I'm not going to say much more because I think the committee should get together, whoever that will be, and come to us with recommendations. But this would be something not under the budget committee's purview. But of course, it would affect the budget if we decided to take some of the capital requests and not put it in our request, or the school committee, we take some of their capital requests and take it out of this fund. So I think that's why I wanted to do this as soon as I'm doing it, because I'm hoping with some guidance, this committee would have a couple of months to get together and come to us, and then hopefully it'll be before the town referendum. If not, it's a restricted account anyway. There's only about 300,000 in there now. We're not quite sure what'll be in there next year, what's coming in, but it's not going to be what we all thought it was going to be. So I'm not quite sure if we will even use that restricted account at this point to pay for this capital on this budget, but that's something that I think should be a discussion of the committee. I can tell you that when we do have this committee, my suggestion would be to have a budget committee member on it, a town councilor on it, a school committee member on it, and some members of the public, so that everybody can weigh in. Attorney Marcello, you don't agree with me?
No, I just want to give you a little word of warning. So the only thing that we're discussing tonight under this agenda item is whether or not to post this for a public hearing. All the discussions that we just had between yourself and Ms. Cook are great discussions. Those should really be had at the public hearing when you re-advertise it.
I agree. I just thought that I would.
I'm just trying to warn against an OMA complaint, that's all.
Okay.
So Donna, so the only issue before is whether or not you're going to advertise this for a public hearing. And then at that time, you can have all these discussions about what should not been done, or what the ordinance actually means.
Okay, I was just not quite sure because it seemed to be all about the last sentence.
Well,
so I just wanted to make sure.
Well, it's everything that's in the ordinance right now, and all I'm suggesting is to take away the sunset clause. If during the public hearing,
that's what I thought it was. Okay.
Yeah. If during the public hearing other
Okay,
councilors
thank you.
want to change the meat of this, that's fine. But right now, it's just whether or not we're going to go and have this public hearing. So I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor, Donna? Is that a yes,
Yes.
Donna? Okay. Councilor Burke?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Janik?
Yes.
Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Vieira?
Yes.
Councilor Perry?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you, everyone. Announcements, comments, and discussion. Town administrator, update on COVID-19 testing and town financial audit.
So, I'll do the COVID thing first. Last Sunday, we did, the fire department did, they did a very well organized covert testing. It was the, not the quick test, the PCR test. I think that's how you say it. And it started at 10 o'clock. Actually, it started a little bit earlier because we had such a crowd. And it went to 2 o'clock, and they did just about 200 people. It was very, very well received. It was very well organized. I have to give Chief Ramos and his staff a lot of credit for organizing this and put it together. And they had quite a few volunteers as well. It was, like I said, it was very well received. I think, I don't know the total number of positives. I think it was under 10. It was somewhere around 8 to 6, somewhere in there. But it was windy as heck, but we had a lot of volunteers, and it worked out really well. So it is a service that that I think the townspeople are very, very happy with. My only suggestion, and I've talked to Bruce about this, is the next time we do it, because Little Compton is so small, we should probably ask their staff to help us as well and open it up to them. So on the audit, so the audit was delayed from December 31st to January. We do have a draft of the audit now. It is being finalized, and it will be done by the end of the month. There was an issue with the educational aspect of the audit, that they had some adjustments to be made internally that have no bearing on the financial condition of the town. It was some internal adjustments that had to be made. And I think there were prior year adjustments, but it really had no bearing on the final cash balance from the town standpoint. The senior auditors of that team have finally signed off on it. They are preparing the final draft of the report now, and we should have it to the council shortly and have a meeting with the council. So I wanted to bring up to date that this will be done timely.
Thank you. Any questions for Chris? Town clerk, update on March 2nd, 2021 special referendum. Polling places, VFW and amicable approved by BOE and CEIR grant approved for $3,946.97. Joan?
Yep. Before I get to those two items, the last day for voter registration is Sunday, January 31st. Because it's a Sunday, the registration process will be at the Tiverton Police Station from 1 to 4 p.m. As well as anybody can still register online or come in during the week, during normal business hours at the town hall. The polling places, as you mentioned, VFW and Amicable were approved by the Board of Elections on January 14th. Both the VFW and Amicable will be voting locations for all precincts. So if you can pick either one to vote at, all voting precincts will be allowed to vote at either polling location. The CEIR grant was approved. This is fantastic. It's almost $4,000, and it's to be used for the March 2nd special referendum. So that's good news. That's it for me.
Can I ask a question? Is a CEIR grant?
It's Center for Election Innovation and Research. And they were the organization that provided the grant for the November 3rd election, where we got just a little over $6,000 for that election, that helped to purchase PPE equipment and help for cleaning the polling locations. So we will use this grant also for probably some PPE supplies, as well as cleaning the 2 polling locations. But it's not restricted to just COVID related. We can use it for other purposes, so long as it's related to the March 2nd election. So good news.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Joan. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into closed executive session under Town Administrator 42465A1, Personnel Job Performance Annual Evaluation for Executive Assistant Mary Lou Sullivan, notice given.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by
Yes.
Councilor Burke. Councilor Burke,
Oh, yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Cook. Councilor Cook,
John, are
Donna,
you
you're on mute.
muted?
You're on mute.
Gibby, stop it.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into closed executive session under Town Administrator 42465A1, Personnel Job Performance Annual Evaluation for Tax Collector Tony Lynn McGowan, notice given.
So
So
moved.
moved.
I have a motion by Councilor Janik, and I'll give Councilor Vieira the second. Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira.
Yeah.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Cook.
Yes.
As you can hear, I have a barking dog. I'd like to make,
It's a fine. Gonna be fine.
I'm outside.
oh, I know what he wants, so
Just
we're
a
gonna
warning.
take a 5-minute recess right after we do this. Motion, I'd like to entertain a motion for Town Administrator, RIGL 4246585, discussion, overview of the disposition of publicly held property in the Tiverton Industrial Park, continued from December 28, 2020.
So moved.
All right, I think I have a motion by Bill Sierra, seconded by Mike Burke. All those in favor, Mike,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Joe Perry,
Yes.
Donna.
Yes.
Like to entertain a motion to go into closed executive session, Town Solicitor, Rhode Island General Law 4246582, general update on all pending litigations.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, so I'll give it to Deb and Bill will second it. Mike,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. I'm gonna, which has been made in second. Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. We're gonna go back to open session, general business, 8C, town administrator, oh, no, it's not 8C, I'm sorry.
It is.
Yes, it is. Town administrator, request approval for salary increase for executive assistant Mary Sullivan, consistent with funding allocated for non-union raises and council contingency. Should we say that the raise, what the percentage is?
You can, it's right there. It says it right on the, where it says salary increase. Right on the back up to the
Yep.
agenda item.
Okay, okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
All right, so Mike
Second.
made the motion, Bill seconded it. All those in favor, Council Burke,
Yes.
Council Edwards,
Yes.
Council Vieira,
Yes.
Council Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Next on is 8D, Town Administrator. Request approval for 2% pay increase for tax collector Tony Lynn McGowan effective July 1st, 2020, consistent with approved FY21 budget.
So moved.
All right, I'm gonna give that to Joe Perry. Seconded, I'll give Bill the second. Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Vieira,
Yes.
Counselor Cook,
Yes,
Counselor Janet,
Yes,
Counselor Perry,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. Like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Do I have a second?
quick,
Okay,
just question.
yes.
Do we have to make a motion about the appraisal of the land
No,
or no?
nope.
Okay.
All right, so motion and a second. All those in favor, you can raise your hands for this one, guys.
Aye.
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 Night.
All right, good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank